So let's start with getting you set up. If you already have a Mac or a Linux machine, you already got Python. If you just type Python 3, it'll open an interactive shell. If you have a Windows machine, you can in principle install Python, but it tends to be kind of irritating. I would recommend getting a Linux machine. The simplest thing to do, so you should start here and get your Python set up with this VP10 if you don't have a Mac. And so you can, by the way, do some Python just online. If you go here, they've given you a web shell and you can execute some commands just right here. So I can do print parentheses hi, and I can just run it right here and it gives you the output here, hi, and that tells you stuff like how much time it took, which we don't really care about. So you can do some things here, but if you try to do a network attack, like port scan a server, you'll find that this machine cannot send any network traffic out, which is obviously to prevent abuse. So you can do a little bit of Python in a web shell without even installing anything, but to have proper success, you really ought to just set up your own Python. And so that's why the first challenge here is only worth 2 points, showing you can run help in Python. And the next one is to get the network working. So if you try to run this in that shell, it won't work. So if you want to run Python locally, you probably already have it. And I have it, of course, because I've got a Mac here. So if I just open a terminal, make it big. All right, Macs all have Python installed on them, just so do Linux machines usually by default. And so let me make this fit on the screen nicely. All right, so if I type Python 3, it opens a Python 3 interpreter. And I was really happy to see this because when I learned programming, it was the 70s, and we just used interpreters running BASIC. We didn't compile anything. We didn't save any files. You just type a command and execute it right away, just like the command line, like the Windows command line or the Bash command line. And you can use Python that way. You can just type commands one by one. So I can do print 2. If I can spell print right, it'll print 2. I can just put 8 plus 7 here. It'll give me 15 and so on. You can execute commands one by one here. But if you want to actually make a file and save it, which is what you do if you're writing a program of any size, then you exit. And so you can install it on Windows, or you install it on a Mac, or use a cloud server. And now you can use a text editor of any type. I like to use the old editor Nano because I often work in limited environments. So you nano a file name. Let's see, let me make a, I'm just going to make a directory to have no other junk in it. So, all right, now I should have ls, nothing in here. Okay, so now I can do nano hello.py. And then I can throw in this line of code and save it with Control X, Y, enter. And you can just run it with Python. Python 3 is probably better to make sure you're getting the latest version. And then it prints hello. So on Windows, you can do the same thing, although you may have some annoyance later. Attempted connections to my server, return connected refused. Oh, that's rude. I'll see. If that server's really down, I can reboot it. Anyway, so now I'm going to try doing requests. So first you need to have the requests module, which you can put on this way once you have Python. This will download it. And by the way, this is insecure. This is something comes up a lot in the discussion of hacking. When you use languages like Python or almost any other modern language, you're using these online libraries and you're downloading stuff. So when I do this, it connects to some remote repository and adds the requests module. And I don't really know who put that code there. And I don't know who's audited it and made sure it's really the best versions and everything. And this is true of all developers everywhere. So there are actually commercial products you can buy now that will try to figure out what is all the stuff you're putting in your code and where did it come from and does it have a known vulnerability? But anyway, I've already got this module. So I'll just do what everybody does. You don't think about that and keep going. So now I'm going to put in this program. So if I do nano request.py and save that, All right, so now I have, what this is going to do is make a GET request to my web page, samsclass.info, and then print just the status code of the result. So Control X, Y, enter, and Python 3. And so the website is up. It returns 200, which is what you get when websites are up. So anyway, so that gets you started. So you have Python, you have the requests library, and you have networking. So if you don't have Python set up at all, start at this one, which unfortunately is at the bottom of my list. I should have moved it to the top, but anyway, that's where it is. And another way to do it is this. If you don't, for example, if you have a Windows machine and you don't have the ability to run virtual machines locally, which a lot of my students are in this position, then you can just use a cloud machine. As I mentioned before, Google is giving away a ton of free cloud services. All you need is a credit card or a bank account and a Gmail account, and they will not charge you any money. When you connect, they will create an account and they'll give you $300 of free cloud service. And if you use it up, you can just make another Gmail account and reuse the same credit card and get another $300. I've done it 20 times or so. So once you create a Google Cloud account, you can just go here and create a Linux server in the cloud. It's wonderful, and it only uses up one of your $300 per day. So here's my Google Cloud account, one of my many. Of course, the penalty is after you use up your free money, it will just throw away all your stuff. So you can't put anything on here and expect it to last. You have to back it up, but you can't argue with free. So here's a Debian server in the cloud. You just click this SSH button and it gives you a command line. You've got a headless Linux server. This is awesome for people that do penetration testing and so on. If you do something dangerous or something, test out some software that might be fouled up, you just spin up a cloud server, test it, and then you just throw it away when you're done. So this is just a command line up here, so I can do Python. And here I am. So it's already there, and you can have Ubuntu or anything you want. So anyway, this is very nice. And if you want to do that, then do this project here, right at the bottom of the page, to create a cloud server to get yourself a Python environment. All right, so I'm going to stop this one and post that video up, and then we'll move on to other topics.